Welcome back to Non Niche. I'm Raquel, and we have a new guest today, and I can't wait for you to meet him. His name is Khaleel Dane. He's a wonderful Miami photographer. I love picking his brain on like what makes him stand out and how long he's been in the industry and how he collaborates with others, which is like truly important, especially since it's a honestly a huge community that is super saturated and it's very hard to stand out, but he does it so effortlessly. So let's tune in the video. Oh, there he is. Hello. I was waiting for it to come up and I was just like, I'm not seeing it, so I need to update it more. But how are you?
I am good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well myself. I am so sorry about the time. I'm getting used to the time zone.
It's okay.
I was like,
Seriously, I
oh,
just I
yeah.
just assume everybody's on the East Coast, so I'm just like, okay,
I
all right, 6:30
know.
is fine.
But thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
No
And
problem.
I saw your photography on Instagram. I was just like, I'm shooting my shot here because your work is really professional and you're a busy person. So I was kind of shocked. I was just like, I don't know if he's gonna say yes, but I'm glad he did.
No, it's not a problem. I mean, I don't really do stuff like this, so it's kind of exciting for
Well,
me.
well, that's awesome. I'm glad that you don't because then that makes me feel more comfortable because this is my first time doing this type of venture too. So we're kind of in the same boat.
Okay, okay, all right. So we're both learning at the same time. That's good.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about yourself while everybody kind of joins in and trickles in. I know we have a couple more people coming in, but like, how did you get started in photography? And I know that takes, you have to hone in on your skills. So I know time.
Yeah, so my mom hates when I tell the story, but it's the truth. It's what happened.
Okay.
But photography was never on my radar at all. Like I had zero interest in it until I lied on a resume for a job.
I love it.
They wanted like a marketing because I went to school for marketing, so they wanted a marketing coordinator that knows
Mhm.
photography, knows web design, like all these different things that are all completely separate jobs, but they wanted it all in one. They were a small company, so I'm like, yeah, I could do all that. And first day I got the job, they had me a camera, lights, and a backdrop. They said find models. It was a clothing company, find models, start shooting the clothes for the website, and
Right.
the lookbook and all. I'm just like, okay, yeah. And my first month and a half was spent just messing around, trying to learn, and YouTube and everything I could find online, and taught myself on the job. And I actually fell in love with it. So after a year and a half of being there, they decided to relocate to New York, and I couldn't go with them. So I said, I'll make a deal with you. Give me the camera equipment, and I won't file for unemployment. They said, okay, go ahead, take it, because we're not going to use
Nice.
it anymore anyway. And just been shooting ever since. So
Wow. And it's all from that little white lie.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
we all have done it. We zhuzh it up because we need to get a
yeah,
job. Like, why not? And then marketing, that's I think. Well, okay, I kind of did the same. So it's a broad venture, and I feel like
yeah,
everybody in marketing technically nowadays, if you want to say like, oh, I'm in marketing, I'm like
yeah,
that doesn't narrow down. But that's kind of cool though. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Photography
And
accident.
yeah, so it's been like almost 15 years now. Like I'm still
Wow.
going at it, because it's like me and my brother, like we're both like he just joined. Hello, brother. We're both creatives. Like we grew up in a very creative family. We draw. He paints. I don't paint, but we both draw. We both we're very creative. I didn't
Hmm.
know how to use that creativity to make money. So photography was kind of like a godsend for me, because it allows me to express my creativity, but it also pays the bills. So it's a
That's
good
helpful.
trade-off.
That is very helpful. And it's kind of hard because especially when you're going through the beginning stages to where you are right now,
Mm-hmm.
pricing yourself is a very big deal, especially for photographers,
Yeah.
because you are paying for a service and then you're
Mm-hmm.
also honing on a skill of retouching and editing and,
Yes.
time management. And,
Yes.
nowadays I know I always talk about AI when it comes to digital
Mm-hmm.
artwork. I think honestly we could price our artists more as
Mm-hmm.
organic, more like an organic person because it
Mm-hmm.
is coming from a human being instead of a computer.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more valuable than what you
Mm-hmm.
can create in 2 minutes. So it's somebody who took their time,
Mm-hmm.
even though we have things automated for us, but it's
Yeah.
still a person that you're working with instead of, AI, which is helpful with
Yeah.
editing. But I think it's, as you get more onto your skill,
Yeah.
it's helpful to get actually paid for your service.
Now, I will say that, the AI thing at first, it terrified me because
Mm-hmm.
I was seeing work being put out there that was very hard to distinguish between AI and actual photography,
Right.
especially for what I do, because, I do portrait work, which is one thing, but my main source of income is product photography.
Right.
And at this point, they don't even need me anymore. Like, you can get amazing AI created images, but at the end of the day, it's like you still need a creative mind to come up with concepts. You still need a creative mind that's going to put something together that is, yeah, not only eye catching,
Right.
but creative and differentiates yourself from everybody else. Like, anybody can do what I do, but my style, my look is what appeals to people and why people hire me because they want what my vision is. So I, I'm a little worried about it, but not as much as most because I know that I do have my own unique vision, and that's why people want to work with me because they like my style. So
Yeah. And then I think that's important to know because, like, we could all basically become fearful of it. You
mm,
know, it says mainly, I was reading an article where it said it is going to take a lot of jobs from human beings.
mm,
And, as creatives, that's a little bit traumatizing because it's just like, you can do my job.
yeah,
Okay, so you're not a human beings. That's fine. But at the same time, like, you're gonna need people to actually fix the problem or to have a backup plan.
yes,
So there's always a need for humans. And then
mm,
also, there's so much differentiation between everybody because everybody
mm,
hones in on their own uniqueness and you're unique. So,
yes,
you know, we're two different people, both creatives, but we're just going to bring
mm,
a light in a different way. And I think that's, very important to not get
yeah,
freaked out, but also it's it what makes you special. So I commend you on that.
yes. And my brother, he just brought up a good point. Like, yeah, AI does not do revisions.
They don't. They,
So what you get is what you get. Like, that's it.
that's true.
And yeah, I mean, I'm at the point though where I'm more trying to figure out how I can incorporate it into my work
Hmm.
flow as opposed to fighting against it because even in product work, not necessarily AI, but there are uh, uh, digital artists that can create photorealistic images,
Hmm.
and they can do things a lot easier than I probably could setting up an entire shoot and retouch and blah blah blah. So that aspect I do want to fold into as well because it's a skill to have. It does differentiate you from all the other photographers who are strictly photographers and
Right.
can't offer anything else. So you just kind of have to adapt and grow with where technology is going, or you get left behind. So because yeah, even though there is like a resurgence of the retro vibes, like people want film cameras and film has actually boomed in the past few
Oh,
years, but still, you kind of have to keep up because even that is just a phase. I feel that's gonna pass as well. So
just like a trend,
yeah,
like I was cleaning out my mom's closet one time, and I was like, "Oh, these are cool pieces." She's like, that's like twice as old as you. I'm like, "But this is what people are wearing now." She's like, "This is why I don't throw anything away, because it will come back in style." And I never really got that until I got older. And now, I just turned 31 not too long ago, and somebody said, "Oh my gosh, bell bottoms," or like when we had the skirts with the shorts, and then they're like, "This is a new invention," or that one TikTok where they were just like trying to describe a landline. I was like, "Oh no."
But it's kind of cool though, because it's like I see my daughter. My daughter's 14, and she dresses now how I dressed in high school. So it's like it's kind of cool. It's like watching her just like picking up these things, and to her it's like it's brand new and this is amazing. I'm just like, we're wearing that like 2001, or 99. So it's the cyclical nature of everything is cool. I mean,
it's evolving, But speaking of evolving, I think that you and your retouching skills have evolved a lot. And I thought it was really cool how you teach other photographers and artists through your different workshops. So can you talk to me a little bit more about that?
Okay, so with that, I used to get asked a lot, do I teach? Because like lighting and retouching are two things that I just obsess over, and I'm very good at it for whatever reason. It just comes to me naturally. And after being asked a million times, I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me try, because I've never taught anyone before. And me and my partner, we decided to start going these little events, which would give people the opportunity to learn. Because there's a lot of photographers that have never set foot in a studio because they're terrified. And studio lighting and flash is terrifying to a lot of people because they haven't done it, so they're terrified. They don't want to touch it because they're scared. So giving people the opportunity to just experience it, no pressure. You can just, all the lights already set up for you. Just plug in your camera and just go and create. And after they see what they can create, it's like, oh my gosh, I love that. I want to learn now. So giving them the opportunity just to try it out and see what they can create, then they want to learn. And from there, I would offer classes. And then for the retouching, like everyone, has kind of like progressed over time. Like I used to do the very, over processed look. And I came across this photographer a couple years ago. I don't remember her name right now, but I'll get back to you on it.
Yeah.
And she had a style of photography. It was just portraits, very tight shots of the face. And the way she retouched the skin, like it was very texture rich and sharp. And I'm just like, I like that. I want my pictures to look like that. So I spent like months on end just like trying to, everything that I could find on retouching, trying to improve. And so I got it. Still doesn't look like hers. Like, I still look up to her, but it definitely changed my style. Like I love texture. I don't want to smooth your skin out to where it looks like plastic. Like I want that texture. I want it to look as natural. I want people to look at the picture and not be able to tell how much of it was retouched, how much of it is just that person's natural skin is just amazing. And that's, been my focus. And then people see that because, it is very eye-catching. Like when you look at one of my pictures on my page, like it just looks like it's popping out of the screen at you. And people want that as well. So, hey, how do you do that? Blah, blah, blah. But I don't gatekeep. I do teach. Anything you want to learn, you ask. I share information freely because I wish I had that when I started out. So, it's been a fun ride teaching.
Well, I think that's truly amazing. And when it comes to photography or any art style, when you look into other artists who are already, when you look at them, it's just like they're already pro, and you're like, I really want to do that, but I'm terrified because I want help, but I don't know how to ask. And then and when I first entered a photography studio, it was just huge white walls, tons of lighting. You got the light box. If you press this button, things click, the shutter. And I'm like, there was a lot of technical things that I had to learn. And I was just like, I'm glad I'm just an assistant, and I did not want a resume because I know I would busted a light or something. But I think it's nice that you give an open space to others so they can feel comfortable, because it shows in their artwork, you know, they're uncomfortable. And also I think you wanting to focus on like skin being skin, even though it does come with purpose when skin needs to be like touched up, refined, smooth. I just I think it's important that, you know, when you see the person like in person, you can actually understand what texture is. Instead of just like, oh my gosh, everybody should look like, as men and women of like models, I'm sure that's hard to keep that up. Like, I'm glad, that's one thing I'm really happy about, because social media does kind of bring a light to say like, hey, my skin is not perfect. Or, you know, there's a ton of makeup on this face that look like I don't have any blemishes. And when it comes to photographers, you know, retouching, it's very refreshing to see the texture, and that it just looks like not, hello. It doesn't look, you know, overly done. You know, I think that it brings, and that's part of your uniqueness as well. When I was looking at your website, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm just honed in on the lighting of it all, just to capture every subject's features. I think that's very important, you know, because it doesn't look uniform, but it just like, that's your style, and I think you express that very well.
I mean, it's like, maybe I would probably be a better photographer if I didn't obsess over lighting and lighting alone for so long. But it's like, my thing is like, anytime I feel I lack in an area, I will obsess over it until I feel like I perfect it. And to this day, I still don't feel like I perfected light enough to be like, all right, I can move on to something else. But I just obsess over it. I wake up in the morning thinking about lighting. I go to sleep at night thinking about lighting. So it's a borderline obsession at this point. But the thing that I've always, or no, I wouldn't say always, but in the last few years, like, I've wanted my pictures to have a very distinct look, because somebody pointed out that I don't really have a style. And that really bugged me, because every photographer that I love, they do have a very distinct style that I can see their picture on my stream or in a magazine, anywhere. I'm just like, I know that's such and such. And but my pictures were just all over the place. Like, I would just experiment and try every, you know, everything that I would come across. Like, oh, that looks cool. Let me try that. Blah, blah. How they do that? Blah, blah, blah. But now I think I have like a very uniform look. Like, you can spot one of my pictures anywhere. And
oh yeah, now I
can. It's like, I love the colorful stuff. You know, that's kind of my trademark. People come to me because they want something colorful and vibrant. You know, that's my thing. And between the way I light and the colors and the texture, like, I think I have it now. Like, I have a style. Like, that's myself. So it's been a fun journey getting there. But
I mean, like, I think that comes with time too, because you're honing on your own craft, and you don't really know what's your style until you actually get the hang of it, you know. And now if you have your own style, you have almost your own category, and I think that's amazing. And it's again hard with photography, because everybody tries to have like a signature style of either retouching or certain angles. I think it's a true talent to have that as like a photographer, to have your own style pointed out by other photographers, like, oh, I know who that is, you know. And the fact that you have already created that for yourself, I think that's truly amazing.
Now, the hard part is, can that style endure? You know, because I've seen like a lot of photographers, like, when I first started out, I loved their work. I looked up to them. And then, you know, 10 years later, and their work still looks the same, but it just doesn't fit with where things are now.
Right.
And that's my biggest word, that I'm just like stuck here and I won't evolve past it. Because it's like, how do you evolve but still stay true to your style, what people know you for?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like the struggle a lot of photographers have. But hopefully I'll figure it out. And 10 years from now, I'll still have a style, but
I mean,
it won't look
it's a
like
long life.
10
You
years
can
ago.
figure it out tomorrow and go that's somewhere. Like, don't upset yourself for it. I mean, I think that comes with like any brand or, as an individual, it's just like, how do you keep evolving to be better than you were yesterday?
Yeah.
And have that longevity. That's an intense task.
Yeah.
You can't solve that over one night.
I know. It's like I'm 15 years in, and I'm just like, like, where am I gonna be in the next 15 years? Like, can I keep this up? It's a scary thought sometimes. It's a scary thought. And then it's like I live in Miami, and there's an overabundance of amazing, amazing photographers here. And I did take a break from photography for like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came back, like the landscape had completely changed. The people that were up here were non-existent anymore. Then you have all these new guys that just shot up, and it just grows and grows. Like every day is like I log on and I just see so many new photographers, and they're all just amazing. I'm just like I love it. I love it. It's scary, but at the same time, it's just fun. The competition, at the same time, the 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 togetherness, because it's just like there's a lot of meetups here. There's a lot of workshops and different things, and everybody kind of just like comes together, helps each other. Everybody grows together. Everybody networks and piggybacks off each other, learn from each other. So the photography scene in Miami at the moment is amazing, and I love it. It's so much influence and so much like drive to like be better and to grow, because everyone around you is growing and it's improving, and it's been amazing to watch. I love it. I love it so much.
Well, that's important to have like that type of community within your reach, because I think we're in like an era where community is very important. And for my family and like my friends, it's just like you do have to have that core group to kind of push you and then actually see certain other things like in a different perspective, so you can be like a better artist, whatever you're doing, to make yourself to hone on a skill as well as become unique. But I think it's important when you have community, because when you're out on your own, you think you're the best until you're out on your own, and then you're just like, maybe not. But I think that's great. I think that's great. And Miami, that's huge. That's a huge competitive area when it comes to the arts. You get a ton of diversity, and that's one thing I love about Miami. It's just like you get a lot of diversity and like different types of artists and community, not only the food, but just like it's just the culture of it. I really love, and I'm glad that you have access to that to help others and help yourself and help you answer that question, like, where do I see myself in 15 years? Which is hard, because like, what do you know if you're gonna do tomorrow? I stopped answering that question. You're like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, look, I don't even know what I'm doing. Because I didn't know I was gonna do this. Like, I did not know this, non-niche was gonna be a thing. This was honestly in my head maybe 10 months ago, and it kept on ringing. I was just like, oh, okay, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And now here we are every day.
But you're enjoying it, though.
Oh,
That's all that matters.
Yeah, I love it. It's like, maybe somebody will make this my job for me, but no, I still do this for free. And I love getting to know people, like you. And I see people's works, and I just wanted to be like another platform where I can share people's story organically. And I think that's something that we're all kind of missing in kind of social media. And if you don't go out, it's just like another platform to be like, oh, hey, like I really look up to this person. Like I would love to hear their like raw insights of like how they got started, So I really appreciate you joining on. But what are like the top maybe 3 to 5 tips you would give a start out photographer to do and what to research?
I mean, first and foremost is learn your equipment, learn your gear, learn
Mm-hmm.
your camera. Because I do see a lot of people that are just so eager to shoot that they never took the time to actually learn how to, the technical aspect of it. And, having a vision, having ideas, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, is only one aspect, but if you can't execute it, it's a wasted idea. Number two, shoot as much as possible. Shoot everything. Try everything. Um, I think a lot of people come out the gates just like thinking they have an idea of where they want to go with photography, and 9 times out of 10, it's not what you thought. When I started out shooting events.
Mm-hmm.
I was shooting weddings because I thought that's what I wanted to do, and I hated it. It wasn't until I stepped into a studio uh, that I'm like, okay, this is my thing. But I shot outdoors, I shot events, I did family portraits, I did product. Like I was all over the place. I tried everything until I found something that I truly enjoyed, which is product work and portraiture. And that's what I do now. And I've spent my time focusing on that, and I got really good at it. Number three, uh, lighting is key. Like it is your bread and butter. And I cannot stress this enough. Like having ideas, knowing how to use your equipment, it's great. But if you do not light your pictures properly, they will look like trash no matter how creative it is. So learn your lighting, please, please, please. And whether it be natural lighting, strobes, constant light, whatever flavor you pick, just learn it and learn them all because you want to be versatile. There's nothing suckier than a client coming to you wanting this, but you can't do it because you only study this and you only practice this and you only know this. So try to be as versatile as you can, but don't try to be a jack of all trades because every great photographer and I guess this would probably be for every great photographer is amazing at one thing, on one thing
Mm-hmm.
only. So I know I say to try everything, but once you figure out what you like, stick to that, focus on that, make that your niche, and just kill it. Because trying to be everything for everyone, you will just be mediocre at all those things. While somebody that specializes in one thing will always shoot past you.
Right.
So that's four, and I guess five is. I guess this is more so for people that want to pursue photography as a profession, learn the business.
Mm-hmm.
And this is important. Contracts are important. Learning the terminology is important. Learning how to price yourself is important. Like you can't just go out there and, think of it as, okay, well, I'm making X amount to do this, blah, blah, blah. But, there's so many things that you have to factor in when you price yourself. And so that you're not shooting yourself in the foot later on down the road, as well as shooting your peers in the foot later on down the road, because you're devaluing the photography as a whole by just not understanding the business side of it. So that would be my top five.
And I think that those are really good because my when I was like working, because that was like my first gig was to be I think it was called flash photography, and I did the photo booth for like different sororities. And I was like at the proms, like with this camera and stuff. And then I got moved to weddings, and then I got to be an assistant on different studios. I learned what I really didn't like very quickly, but I'm glad I did that because one, I got to learn different tips and tricks and like how certain equipment works because I didn't know. So I'd rather know like all of it instead of just be like, I know one thing and that's going to take me far, when reality that doesn't really help you. But I think it's important when you know like what you don't like. Like I did not like that at all. Flash photography. Like it was just like and it wasn't always at the best places, but it did take me how to be in like
Yeah.
environments where how to dress, and then I did have to work with lighting depending on
Mm,
if it was like super dark or super light outside. So,
yeah.
it taught me a lot. But yeah, I wasn't a very big fan of weddings either. Um, I think the
Uh,
only part I really liked was seeing it was like the bridesmaid and groom when they were in like the separate rooms
yeah.
because it was conversations in there
Mhm.
were hilarious. I was
Yeah.
like,
It's like,
y'all getting married?
it's
Okay.
like,
but
when
uh,
it's
but
like,
no, I think what you said was very important. Especially
yeah,
the contract and pricing yourself. I think we as a creative, we want to be fair,
mm,
but we also have bills to pay,
yeah.
you know?
It's like I feel like a lot of photographers don't really value or understand the value of what they're offering as a
Hmm.
craft. And it's I feel like especially down here in South Florida where the creative scene is fairly new. Like yeah, there've always been like, advertising agencies and all the modeling agencies are here or whatever,
Hmm.
but the creative scene as a whole is still in the infancy here. Like it's growing rapidly, but it's still fairly young. So it's like you don't a lot of the businesses, a lot of people in general just don't really appreciate it or understand it as a whole or the value of it.
Hmm.
Um, so you get a lot of people that want to lowball, you get a lot of people that, but you also have a lot of young photographers that don't understand the value of what they're offering. So they take these low prices. And I was one of them. I was definitely one of those people that used to get talked down on my price all the time, being told that it's too high. And then I started spending time with photographers that are a little bit further along in their careers than I am and saw what they were charging. Now I'm just like, wait. So like, are you serious?
You're
So
like,
it's like huge. So I was like, wait, so that was my motivation to sit with them and learn the business side of it. And then I started looking at it differently. They broke it down for me, just like everything you do costs money. Like your time is money. So everything that you spend time on, you should be charging for. And these were things that I was just not thinking about. I was like, all right, well, this is my hourly rate and this, that. But
yeah.
there's so many other little intangibles that are in there that you're not even factoring in that take your time away from other projects because you're focused on this. So you have to price yourself accordingly. And initially, you're going to get a lot of no's. You're going to get a lot of people that are going to be, oh, that's expensive, blah, blah. But once you find your customer base, they won't question it. And that's where everybody should be aiming for. So you can be everything for everyone, but find your client base that understands your price, understands the value of it, and are willing to pay. And you're set after that once you find that.
Well, yeah, I think, especially now you have content creators and
Mm,
pricing yourself and how much brands will pay you. I think that's like a very, very huge discussion when it
yeah.
comes to like what people will pay as for your worth.
Mm,
And sometimes, you know, it's not like they don't find you worthy. It's
mm,
just honestly, they're going to lowball you first.
mm,
Initially, because they're just like, I want to save money too. But then you have people who are already well known and, hone in on their work with the
mm,
resume and what they do and how much work they do. It's just no question. But when you're first starting out, you do kind of have to negotiate
yeah.
where the meeting of the minds. And sometimes I feel that maybe when people first start out, they're just like, why am I negotiating?
Mm,
You know? And at some point, sure, I understand like the kind of side eye that you give, but at the same time, when you're first starting out, they just want to see like, okay, what's some wiggle room here,
yeah.
or are you just going to stick to your rates? Because I think that's important. Like once you start wavering, then
Mm.
you start opening doors to having people waiver your price. That doesn't mean like they don't find you worthy of it. It's just like you already kind of
Like you
cut.
get a deal, like you get a deal.
Yeah,
you know?
like if I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna try. Every time like I go shopping, I was like, is this really 20% off, or is this? Like, you just have to ask. It's nothing personal, but you just have to
Yeah.
ask. But no, I think that's great. And I know you said you don't know what you're gonna do in 16 years, but like, where do you want to see yourself as, down the road?
My goal has always been to get to the agent represented point where
Mhm.
I don't have to do any of the back end stuff. I don't have to chase after clients. I don't have to look for clients. I don't have to do anything. I
Mhm.
just get a phone call. Hey, I have a job for you, blah, blah, blah. Send me the details, show up, shoot, and then I'm good for the next few months if I so
Right.
choose. And not many photographers make it there, but it's where I
That's where
see
you.
myself
Mhm.
because when you get to that point, then you get to play. Like the photographers that reach that point, they spend less time working and a lot more
Mhm.
time just creating because they have the freedom to. It's like right now, it's like I can't even tell the last time I posted on my Instagram because I don't even have the time to like just create for the fun of
Right.
it anymore. Just work, 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 work. But I do see myself getting there eventually, getting to that agent
Right.
representative point. I don't have to think about nothing anymore.
Well, I think that's important because, like, I always say visualization when it comes to your career or anything that you want. It's very important because if you can't see yourself there, you're not going to get there, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and I think that you see yourself there and where you want to be, not to put a time limit on there because I feel like that's easily a way to like disappoint yourself. But
Yeah.
eventually you're gonna get there. And I tell myself that all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, I see myself, traveling the world, doing all this stuff, but I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Like I said, I don't know, and I don't want to put a time limit on there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
ask, what do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, I don't know. Where do you see yourself? So I know what I know I would like to be doing. I just don't know
Mm-hmm.
how long it's gonna take me there. So I'd rather set like the intention and
Mm-hmm.
then just let the script write out how it plays and do it
Yes.
that way. I feel like that makes me home just kind of reel in my perfectionism
Mm-hmm.
because I'm very goal oriented. I do have to say that about myself, and I know you
Mm-hmm.
are too. So
Yes.
people call it, "Oh, you're a perfectionist." I'm like, I don't want to say that. I just know I have a goal and I want to reach it, and that kind of helps me hone it in a little bit, where I'm just not
See.
overly obsessive about it. But no, I think that's great. And next thing you know, you're gonna be working for like top magazines, and you're just like
Mm-hmm.
gonna have full on covers with awesome people, awesome cast and crew, and just like, hey, that guy interviewed on my little show here.
It's like the goal, like since I started photography, I always said that one of my biggest goals was to get the cover of Harper's Bazaar. Like that has been my dream for as long as I've been doing photography. And it's like every year, like in my mind, I inch closer and closer to that goal because I'm getting better, I'm getting more known. Still not at the level I want to be, but I know that I'm at least getting there.
Mhm.
And I try not to beat myself up too much about how long things are taking because the photographer I admire the most, Lindsay Adler, she shot for 23 years before she, broke off into the stratosphere. So
Mhm.
I'm at 14 years going on 15, so I'm not too far where I need to be. So I know I'll get there eventually, but I'm not too stressed out about it. Like I'm just enjoying the journey, getting there.
And that's very important because honestly, I always say your biggest break can come in any second.
Yeah.
You know, I know that there were a couple photographers that Vogue just randomly chose because
Mhm.
Beyonce wanted to work with like a photographer she saw on
Yeah.
Instagram, and that photographer was just like me. Now, no tell, like if they were just like in their living room, like editing photos, like I'd be like, your life, like I think it's just like the expansion of life
Mm-hmm.
is so hard to grasp because your life can change like in a millisecond for like the better.
Oh,
And you never know who's watching your stuff. So it's
yeah.
just like it's always nice to put yourself out there and make
Mm-hmm.
sure you're like aligned with it. And your work, it just shows. And I don't see you, not reaching your goals, because if not, like, I'm sure there's gonna be a magazine like, hey man, we want you, and that's just another foot in the door.
Yeah. So I've been actively like, shooting my photographer shot with the people that are on my dream, because I have like a dream list of people that I want to
Hmm.
shoot, like celebrities and known people. And every once in a while, whether it be a comment to one of their pictures or a DM or whatever the case would be, I just keep shooting out there because I noticed the thing about me is like I don't put myself out there a lot, and it's like as good as I may or may not be, not that many people see my stuff because I'm just not out there. I don't post, I don't go out, I'm just work and
Hmm.
home. So to combat that, I've just been actively just shooting my photography shot. And hopefully one of these days, one person bites. Because all it takes is just that one person to bite,
Yeah.
and you're good. Because once you get in with one person, then it just opens up a lot more doors. So, hopefully I keep putting myself in front of the right people. Eventually somebody will be like, all right, come on, yeah, let me try you out. So we'll see.
I I I believe it, and I manifest it for you. So,
Thank you.
no, very strong in believing that, because when you put yourself out there, um, I was listening to an interview. It's just like there were so many people who already are in the industry that they already worked so hard being into, and they
Mhm.
go on Instagram, they go on YouTube, they go on like all the social media sites, and they just like, hey, this person, doesn't have a lot of followers, or this person has tons of followers. Like, why isn't this person in this room? I
Mhm.
think when people start creating opportunities for other people when they're
Mhm.
already in the room, I think that's just a mind blowing situation,
Yeah.
because when you do get in that space, it's nice to hold the door for somebody else because you
Yes.
understand the grind. And I
Yes.
think and I think that's very important. Anybody can see your work, and it's just like most of the time it's the one that I really don't like. I remember
Yeah.
it's the one where you're just like, really? That's what got you? That one was not this
I talk
masterpiece
about that
here.
all the time. Like it boggles my mind. It's like the shots that I'm just like, I love this.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess because I'm looking at it different, like I'm looking at it from the technical aspect, like I know what went into making that shot. It's like,
Right.
wow, that was difficult, but the shots are just like easy, just like whatever. Those are the ones people love, and it's just like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm just like, that one, like what? So like, okay.
But like, isn't that true though? It's just, but I feel like I think I understand why. It's
Mm,
because we didn't have any intention behind it.
yeah,
Like, we weren't like proud, like, that's my baby, that's what I created, that's masterpiece. Like, you didn't have that much oomph. It was just effortless, and you
yeah,
just put it out there. And
yeah.
that's why it gets so received. It bugs the crap out of me because I'm you worked so hard. You were just like, are you sure this is the one that you really want?
I don't
I spent
bother with
hours on
that
this photo. You didn't see this. But I know I never understood that until like I just really thought about it. It's just like, it's because it was just natural.
Yeah,
And
and I mean, and I've seen that, and it humbles and it kills my soul every time it happens. But like people have booked me for shoots, and they posted pictures, and I'm psychotic. I will stalk that post and read the comments and see and monetize it because I just want to know. Like I need that confirmation, and it's just like to watch it perform lower than a selfie. It kills me. But then it was explained to me that people are just drawn to things that just look natural and look effortless and just look like this is just them, just being them, as
yeah,
opposed to something that's staged and. So even though it's like a beautiful photograph, but it's just like, whatever. Like I like that better because it's just you being you, natural, with your cell phone. So I get it, but it just
like,
hurts.
it
Everything
still bugs me.
hurts.
Like, I don't like that. No, I completely get it. And but honestly, if you think about it, in the world that we are
in right now, authenticity, and then just uniqueness, and not having everybody look the same. It's very hard to come by. So when somebody does see like, oh my God, that's you natural, this is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like a little bit bigger of a compliment than what it used to be like maybe 5-10 years ago. But no, you gotta stop looking at it. I think the best results when you post something, you post and you leave it alone.
Yeah.
Because that's the ones where you get like the most likes and shares. It's like you post and you just step back and you move on. When you don't think about it. And there was this one guy on TikTok, he's like, yeah, it was the trick on Instagram of how to get the most likes or reels or whatever, or repost. It's just you post it and you leave it alone. And I tried that. I was just like, okay, because I used to be like, okay, so only 5 people looked at this? Okay.
Refresh.
You just look like, how many likes did I get on that? All right. Well, I'm like, I have money to boost that, but okay. No, you just post it and leave it alone. But I think that's also, you know, kind of therapeutic, because you just put it out there, you step back. You got to detach from it. You just have to be like, okay, I did it. That's great. But we got to leave it alone. But no, I just really appreciate you sitting down with me and having these authentic conversations, and hopefully inspire other people that are on here. And I'll post this on YouTube as well. But I think it's really important that, you know, your story's out, and, you know, I'm here to help boost and like and share and repost and get some stories out there for your community, and help tag whoever I need to tag. Just, you know, and that's what this is. It's just a helping hand to like elevate you, and it's just one. And you know, I'm trying to build a community here, so I really appreciate you sitting down with me, and hopefully I can help any way that I can with, you know, adding some likes, shares on the photo that you really like.
I appreciate it. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Anytime, I'm here, and you know, all the best to you and Nanish. You know, it's really dope what you're doing. We do need more of this in the creative community. Just people just, you know, highlighting the creatives and giving them a space to express themselves and get their stories out and get their work out. So I do appreciate you for this. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sitting down with me. And sorry about the time zones. I'm really trying to get better with that. I'm just like, oh, it's Eastern time. He's like, oh, that's my. I really try to specify, and so I do have like a little widget on my computer that helps me like break down, because I was trying to get it on top of my head, and I was like either 2 or 3 hours off. I'm just like, I need some help.
See, the thing is, it's like I have the Google invite. The Google invite's at 7:30, so we had the correct time on the Google invite.
Oh, okay.
I'm just like, I'm just repeating the post like 6:30. Like, okay, yeah, 6:30. But yeah, that was my fault. So I probably should have, you know, corrected that on my end.
Well, it worked out perfectly anyway. But Khaleel, I love your work, and I love what you do, and I know you're gonna hit the big magazines, and you just added another supporter, and I don't know, you're gonna go further what you probably expect, what you think you're gonna go. So I don't know if it's gonna be 15 years. It may be tomorrow. You never know. But you know, if you're ready now, you don't have to get it. So no, you're truly inspiring, and I honestly can't wait to write my article about you. And I welcome you into our community here. And I'm so happy that you're able to teach others and be organic and authentic, and, you know, helping other creators to find their own voice through a very saturated community, because it's hard when you feel like you were saying, like your style is important, where you can say like, oh, like I know that photographer, you know, so you help others, and I really appreciate that. And you do so many great things, and I know I said that multiple times, but I really do admire you, so I thank you.
Thank you for having me. All the best.
All the best. But thank you for everyone that joined, sending highs, love, and his brother, hello. No, but we're gonna sign off, and I'll have this interview. I'm trying to get all the shorts together to make them a little bit uniform on the feed, but all of them are gonna be fully posted on YouTube. So I thank you again, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.